All right, let's talk about one of Dubai's buzziest new projects, Binghatti Sky Terraces. But we're not just going to look at the fancy pictures. We're going to get into the real data, the location, the numbers, all from an investor's point of view, to see if this thing actually makes sense. Let's get right into it.
You know, when you think of Dubai skyline, it's just packed with incredible buildings, right? It's one of the most competitive places on Earth for architecture. So to really make a splash, you can't just build tall. You got to do something that makes people stop and stare. And Sky Terraces? Well, with this wild, staggered look, it's definitely trying to do just that. But the real question for us is the investment behind it as solid as the building looks?
Okay, to figure that out, we can't just look at the building itself. We have to pull back a bit, get the bigger picture. Any good investor knows you start with the market. So let's dig into the numbers for its neighborhood, Motor City. And this is the first thing that should jump out at you: the sheer volume of new properties on the way. Just look at that bar for 2028. We're talking almost 8,000 new units hitting the market in that 1 year in just this one area. That means Sky Terraces is going to have a ton of competition right from day one.
But, and this is a big but, here's the other side of the coin. Yeah, the future looks crowded, but right now, the market is on fire. Prices in the area have shot up over 31% in just the last year. So you've got this really interesting situation. Crazy strong demand today, but a huge wave of supply coming tomorrow. That's the tension we need to understand.
So that leads to the next logical question, right? In this super active market, what are people actually buying? What's popular? If we want to know if Sky Terraces is a smart play, we've got to know what off-plan buyers in Motor City are actually putting their money into.
And wow, the data could not be clearer. Just look at this, over 81%. That's how many off-plan sales in the last year were for one-bedroom apartments. It's not just the most popular choice, it's basically the only choice for most people. It completely dominates everything else.
And that trend holds up when you look at the actual size of these places. More than 83% of buyers are going for apartments between 500 and 1,000 square feet, so the message from the market is loud and clear. People want smaller, efficient spaces.
And then there's the price. This is probably the most important part. The sweet spot, financially, is just so specific. A whopping 77% of all sales are happening between 1 and 1.5 million dirhams. So we can pretty much paint a picture of the typical investor here, right? They're buying a one-bed, under 1,000 square feet, for somewhere around 1.2 million dirhams.
Okay, so we've got a really clear idea of what people are buying. Now let's talk about the where. Because the market data is one thing, but in real estate, location is everything.
So here it is on the map. You can see the exact spot. It's right there on Detroit Road, and it's got super easy access to Hessa Street, which is one of those main arteries that gets you everywhere in Dubai. It's basically smack dab in the middle of Motor City, and you've got views overlooking the famous Dubai Autodrome. And this really shows you what that location means in real terms. We're talking 15 minutes to Mall of the Emirates, 20 minutes to Dubai Mall in downtown, and you can get to either of the international airports in under half an hour. For anyone living there or for an investor thinking about rental appeal, that connectivity is a massive, massive plus.
All right, so we've looked at the market, we've looked at the location, now let's get into the good stuff. Let's zoom right in and look at the building itself. What exactly is Sky Terraces?
First off, just let this number sink in for a second. 1,840 residential units. I mean, this isn't just another apartment building. It's basically a vertical town. The scale of this project is, well, it's huge.
So here's how it all breaks down. You've got 40 floors of apartments sitting on top of this big podium. But the important part, the part you should be paying attention to, is the mix of units. Over 1,000 one-beds and more than 600 studios. It's pretty obvious the developer did their homework. They looked at the same data we just did and are building exactly what people are buying.
In a market this crowded, you need something that makes you different, a unique selling point. And this is Sky Terraces' big play. They're putting this gigantic amenities deck on the first floor, and get this, it has a huge artificial beach. I mean, a beach in an apartment building. It's definitely a bold move, and it's for sure designed to make this place unforgettable. So, let's recap. It looks amazing, it's in a great spot, and it's built for the current market. But does the math work out? Let's get to the part every investor really cares about, the numbers.
Okay, here are the starting prices. And look at that one-bedroom number,
starting right under 1.2 million dirhams. Remember that sweet spot we found earlier, the 1 to 1.5 million range? Well, this lands right in the bullseye. The pricing strategy seems spot on with what the market is doing.
The sizes tell the same story. Your average one-bedroom is about 784 square feet, which, again, is right in that popular 500 to 1,000 square foot range. It's like this project was custom-built based on a checklist of what today's off-plan buyer wants.
Now, for anyone buying off-plan, cash flow is a huge deal. The payment plan here is pretty standard. It's a 70-30 split. So that means you're paying 70% in chunks while they're building it, and then the last 30% is due when you get the keys.
And here it is, the date that connects everything we've talked about. Handover is set for the very end of 2027. That means people will be getting their keys right as the calendar flips to 2028, which, if you remember, is the exact year that all that new competition is supposed to flood the market.
So, this is what it all comes down to. On one hand, Binghatti Sky Terraces looks like a genius project. It hits the nail on the head with the unit type, the size, and the price. The location is great, and it has that one-of-a-kind beach deck that really makes it stand out. But it's also set to open its doors at the exact moment the neighborhood gets flooded with thousands of other new apartments. And that's the final question every investor has to ask themselves. Are all those amazing features enough to make it win out against all that competition?